It's time to talk about this pair of content creators who were recently banned from filming on board of an MSC cruise ship. No doubt by now you've heard the story of Ben and David running into some trouble on board the MSC World Europa while filming in the yacht club area. And needless to say, I have thoughts and opinions, so let's roll the intro. Hey, welcome to the Midships channel. It's your Captain Corey. Thank you so much for stopping by the channel today. And instead of beginning with a question of the day, let's begin with my answer of the day as to where the heck I have been. It's been about a 2-month process for me over here. I've been sort of secretly working on achieving the goal of homeownership, which is something that I've never done in my life. And well, I thought it was about time. And well, you don't really talk about these things publicly until you really have concrete answers. So that's what I did. I've been working towards it, and I bought a cute little fixer-upper that needs a full inside and outside remodel with about 1 acre of land that also needs a full remodel. There's, needless to say, a ton of work at this place. So that's where I've been. That's what I've been doing. I've been working on the gut, on the remodel, all of that. So apologies for the extremely sparse cruise news. But today, we've got some cruise news. And we begin with a story that broke, I don't know, about 48 hours ago now. A couple out of the UK who's very large on the YouTube cruise sphere. Their names are Ben and David. They recently uploaded a video which was going really well. Really well, right up until it wasn't. And that was the point where MSC Cruise Line approached the pair and asked them, well, really didn't ask them, demanded that they no longer film on board the MSC World Europa. Now, if you're not fans of this particular YouTube channel, in the past, they have had another video that was somewhat critical of the cruise line MSC. And that video, it got a lot of views, and it also spawned a lot of copycats from smaller channels, I think, who were looking to kind of capitalize on the popularity of Ben and David's video. And interestingly enough, the few channels that I saw that seemingly had their own problems with MSC and played them up here on social media, well, those channels really don't exist anymore at all. Take that however you want, but what I found is the cruise sphere here on YouTube, the audience prefers the positive. They don't want to hear bad things about the cruise lines that they love. We don't want our favorite hobbies, our favorite vacations to be taken away or to be downgraded in any way. Negativity sort of does that. And that just doesn't seem to exist here on this platform in any sort of major way. And personally, I think that's a good thing. What I don't think is a good thing, though, is a cruise line prohibiting filming in public areas. Well, especially from what I know about cruising with Ben and David, something that I was doing exactly 1 year ago today. We spent 2 weeks on the very same ship together, Symphony of the Seas, traveling from Miami to Barcelona. And personally, I had a few very brief interactions with those guys while on board. Went over and introduced myself. Lovely, nice to meet you. Oh, very cool. We went our separate ways. It was about that. That was about the extent of it. So when I heard that Ben and David were asked to quit filming on a ship, personally, I was a little bit shocked. Knowing what I know about how they operate on board a ship. And look, it's been a year. Maybe things have changed for them, but what I can tell you is they were quiet as a church mouse. They always sat off in the corner in a quiet area. I never saw them pointing their cameras at passengers. And as a matter of fact, I think there was an update that came out yesterday for this story that MSC has reached out to the couple to sort of clarify their stance, their position, why they took it. Obviously, there's a crap storm of bad PR right now for MSC, so they're going to need to backpedal a little bit. If you have personal opinions about this, I do always encourage you to share those in a respectful way with these cruise lines on social media to maybe help the cruise lines understand where they're missing the mark. You know, we can always be constructive and help to make cruising become even better for all of us, right? So obviously, this could have more ramifications throughout the entire cruise YouTube or the cruise tube community. I know that most of you who watch my videos, you tune in and you watch me, and then you're probably watching other creators as well. That's why it's such a cool community here in cruising. Everybody's extremely friendly. We get along because we all have a massive shared interest to keep your eyeballs on all of our content. So our audiences are sort of one large audience. In other words, it behooves all of us to do better to create more content and keep piggybacking off of each other. But when you get cruise lines who are saying, no, you're not filming on here, well, that puts this whole shebang in jeopardy for all of us, all the creators, and for you sitting down trying to relax, get away from the day-to-day stress of your life, just trying to enjoy some cruise-related content. It puts that at risk for you as well. Now, for creators like myself, the Tonys, the Ben and Davids, all the other ones who are not mentioned right now, who are constantly on board ships, filming, getting content, it also sort of puts us on a much shakier ground. If you start having cruise lines immediately saying, nah, get out of here, no more filming, and then they follow that up by following you around the ship to make sure you're not filming, that's a whole new level of uh-oh for at least me, in my opinion. It makes me wonder, is this going to be a viable business for content creators in the future on board cruise ships, particularly on MSC cruise ships? Look, MSC is not a stranger to social media and to independent creators. I was on board the Seascape, a year, maybe 2 years ago now, when she had her inaugural cruise out of Miami, and MSC actually brought creators on board. They actually encouraged people to come on board, film, work. There were, a dozen or so creators that they brought in, people that make a living doing this. All that to say that MSC knows what they're doing with social media. They've got a department for it. I'm constantly in touch with them via email. They help me out all the time when I have questions about things that are coming up, planning trips, that sort of thing. So it's strange to me that this occurred at all. Unfortunately, it was not the appropriate response, if you ask me. If you have somebody who says, I don't feel comfortable being filmed, the appropriate response is to go over to the people filming and say, hey, look, we've got somebody who's uncomfortable being on camera. Could you please try to keep the cameras more away from the guests? Personally, I'm not a fan at all of what happened on board. I think it was the totally wrong approach. There's always going to be someone complaining about something. Oh, don't film me. To them, I say, guess what? People are allowed to take pictures. It's not all about you. It's a big world out there. You can't go to Starbucks. You can't go to the gas station without probably being on camera at least a dozen times. So don't expect privacy anywhere outside of your own house. I've seen a lot of people saying, oh, well, these guys use massive cameras, big stabilizers, blah, blah, blah. And I think in the past, from what I saw, their rigs got very large. When I saw it personally, it was a little bit more handheld. They had like a reasonably sized stabilizer, no bigger than the one that I mostly use. The larger your equipment gets, the more you stick out like a sore thumb when you're working on board these cruise ships, which is why I know a lot of large creators film on iPhones. I personally have switched to most of my filming on iPhones as well. You fly under the radar, people aren't asking questions. It's a lot more normal, and it's a way to avoid being perceived as a film production crew, which then gets into a whole new territory with these cruise lines. There's a lot more hoops you need to jump through if you're wanting to make a production on board their ship. But in my opinion, any person who wants to go on board a cruise and document their vacation in a vlog style or in any style they want, whether or not it's even going to YouTube, that should 100% be allowed. It comes down to, if you let one person take a video on a cruise ship, you have to let every person on that cruise ship take a video. And that's how you do business. Speaking of doing business, maybe you and I can do a little business, mostly because, well, I have to afford to buy a new roof here this month, and there's a lot of zeros in that price tag. So if you've been on the fence about checking out all of the amazing cruise essentials in the Midships Amazon store, remember, it's free to browse. Literally, you click that link, it's free. You look at it, and because you did, Jeff Bezos will send me a check at the end of the month to help me buy my new roof, which, like I said, is very expensive. Maybe give that link a click today. I'd very much appreciate your support. Oh yeah, the link's in the description down below. I'll leave it right at the very top. So I take it you love cruising, right? You're still here after all, which means you'd probably love being a subscriber here on the channel. Why don't you take a second today, do yourself a favor, tap that little subscribe button right down there underneath this video. And if that's too much of a commitment for you, you can always give a little thumbs up. That's totally free to do. Takes a little bit of effort, just about that much. Thank you so much for stopping by the channel today. And until next time, we'll see ya on the Midships.